I'm here in the Redwoods of Northern California, one of my favorite places on earth, and many people's favorite place. People come from all over the world to be here. Sometimes I wish I could just live here forever, but that's not practical. Or is it? It is for one man. His name is Timothy Osmer, and we're going to drive out to his place and tell his story. Come with me.
Very few people under 60 have insight into the culture of the 60s. But those who do remember it was a time of dreams and hope. One of those dreams was to move back to the land and live gently on the earth. It was a dream that many of us have tried, and for one reason or another we couldn't maintain.
We are definitely in the countryside now. We've already found our next turn. We're supposed to go that way.
And we got to get ourselves back to the
Whoa, Quentin, nice going. You made it. Congratulations.
It's a minor miracle. That road was amazing.
More than a few have turned back and not made it, so good going.
I was a little scared, actually, at some points. My car's lights were coming on I've never seen before. I don't know what they meant. So how long have you been living here?
40-some years, 44 years.
Wow. It's very peaceful.
It's quiet, it's peaceful, and really, literally nobody uses the road.
I got that impression.
I've been showering on the back of this barn here for maybe 20 years. And one time a car went by, and the woman, there's a neighbor down the way, she didn't look. And then fairly recently a quad came, and I'm in the shower, and I look up the hill at the quad, and it's Jesus. And he looks down at me, and he waves, and I wave, and he kept going.
Were you naked?
Oh, I usually take my clothes off when I take a shower, yes.
So you have no electricity and no running water, is that correct? Except down here you have a shower and some water.
Running water, yeah. No running hot water, running cold water.
Up at your place, you have running cold water?
Yeah, I got water here. It all comes from a spring up the hill, all gravity fed, so I don't have to pollute with some kind of gas engine pumping
Great.
water. At the same time I arrived here, I started building what I call a real house on the other side of the creek. And I finally got it to a place where I could move into that house.
By real house, you mean something bigger and more substantial?
A little more big, a little more substantial. You'll see it. We'll go there right now.
Is this too cold to swim in?
Right now I wouldn't go in, but no, I go in there.
In the summertime on a sunny day?
Yeah. I built this myself.
Is this your front door? I love how you have tiny works of art everywhere. Like this sort of tree house for birds anyway, and then lots of nice little found objects, natural things. Wow. 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 I thought it would be nice in the pictures, but it is so nice. I mean, it's really amazing. It's a beautiful thing you built here.
I appreciate your appreciation.
Why did you decide on a 7-sided house?
Well, I had lived in one when I first came. My mentor became a really good friend. They had built a 7-sided house, and I thought, oh, that's sexy. Well, it's stupid. 7 does not work. 52.5-degree corners, come on. But when you're ignorant and you don't know any better and haven't had any experience, you go, and you're basically a romanticist. It's so romantic. These redwood posts, they were in the footprint of the Creighton Ridge fire. They were standing dead 2 years. 7 logs, it was 7-sided. I made the roof go up 14 feet.
Must have been something hauling these logs over here, wasn't it?
Well, that's why we had the trolley to send supplies.
Wow. That thing must handle some weight then.
It can handle some weight. A lot of the other wood I have came out of chicken coops.
So how long would you say it took you to build your cabin here, if we call it a cabin?
No
Spaceship.
longer than 26 years.
26 years. Is it finished now?
Yeah, that's as much as I'm going to do.
So you've been here 40 years.
44, actually.
Yeah, and
I have missed a couple. I was in Hawaii for a year, and I've done some traveling other places. But I've owned this property since 1979, and I've been here most of the time.
How did it all start?
It all started when I heard Joni sing her song.
Oh, right, the Woodstock song?
That's right. You got to get
Joni
yourself back to the garden. And I understood her poetry. I understood the power of what she was saying. And it meant so much to me. It touched me so deep. I said, I have to do that. Whatever that means, I had no idea. I was a high school teacher at the time in Santa Clara.
So Joni Mitchell inspired you to go back to land, and you found the land through connections up here. Just one thing led to another, right? You know? And you lived by the road at first, right? And you lived there a long time.
Well, I was involved in more than just being here. I found out, I came back really by myself, but I found that there was a lot of peers that had come back to the land that were neighbors that were trying to take care of each other. We didn't have any resources provided by any government, so we had to provide our own resources and make our own recreation and social interaction.
But that's where all the fun is, you know?
Well, having neighbors that think similar enough that you're not odd. We did a lot of things, including political work, protesting.
You got a good community out here. You're supporting each other. You're living on the edge of the land, and you're also an environmentalist, right? That was your primary career, the way you supported yourself?
Well, I kind of duck when people use that term, but yeah, that's what it comes down to. There was a fire here in '78. The Creighton Ridge fire burned up 12,000 acres, and a neighbor put together a grant. We got some money and started responding to restoring by planting trees, doing work in the creek, habitat improvement for the fish, and that became my career.
If I may guess, this structure organically created itself to have found objects and opportunities and things alongside the road, or trees that fell down, or harvesting trees, lots of different sources for materials. Never so much as going to the lumberyard and picking up a load of lumber, right?
There is a few pieces in here. I framed out the doors and the windows and bought 2x8s. But other than that, it's all stuff. And I used to decommission old chicken coops. So I've had a stash of redwood, beautiful redwood, for years and years, going back to, that was the first thing I did after retiring as a teacher. I came to Pengrove and Petaluma and Katati and took chicken coops apart and sold the lumber or saved some for myself.
So, did you have like a business card that you passed around? We'll take your chicken coop?
No, it said Frontier Barn Boards.
So it was a real business.
I tried making it a real business. It was a real small business. So the real maybe goes into the size, which is tiny business. There's so much traffic in here as to put my lunch in the thermos. Almost the same. Not
When you make up beans and
small, so it takes a lot of attention. But I got a wonderful windfall of wood.
So I noticed in the top of the structure, there's multicolored stained glass. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, what I'm most proud about is when I ripped off my neighbor for the wood that I set the glass in. I
When
wanted
you say ripped off, you mean found, right?
stole.
You stole in the middle of the night, you went in with
I'm
your
going to
flashlight.
tell you the story now.
Okay, I'm ready.
The triangle of glass had to be 7 inches. And I didn't have any wood to set it in that was big enough. I happened to be over at my neighbor's house one day, and I saw in his kindling box these chunks of redwood, 2x12 tongue and groove redwood that he was going to burn as kindling.
How long was it?
Well, they were just chunks. There
Right.
were
Oh, okay.
end pieces that were perfect for what I needed and sinful to burn up. So I stole 7 pieces, and I'm very proud of that because I saved this sacred wood instead of it being used the wrong way. In my opinion, he never noticed, and it wouldn't matter anyway. But that's my rip-off pride story.
So instead of rip off, we could say rescue.
We could say rip on. I ripped it on. Rescued is good. Rescued's good. I like rescued.
Rescued.
Well, that's what
Rescued
it was.
wood.
That's what it was.
So you rescued the wood and integrated it into the ceiling. Did you have any help with all this construction?
I did. From time to time, early on, I had help. I borrowed a generator. It was hell getting back across the creek.
Your helpers, did they live here, or was it barter exchange for room and board or something?
No, it would just be short, a day here, half a day there. I did pay some guys. I went down to the Grayton Labor Center and paid some guys, three guys from Oaxaca, moved up some rock for the base floor. Those were 6-inch rocks, and that was quite a bit of work.
Pretty heavy. So these Oaxacan guys helped out, and did you have any friends ever live here and contribute?
Friends would come up and work for a few hours or a day, and there's a couple of guys that would stay from time to time.
I'm getting the impression you built this whole place yourself.
Actually, I met a roofer I picked up a roofer who was hitchhiking one time. He came out and he took one look at the roof and he said, "Roofer's nightmare. This is terrible. Let me out of here."
I would kind of agree with that. Let me walk over to the roof a second. A lot of difficult angles. Yes. And you had a lot of fun, didn't you?
Not any fun at all. It was terrible.
Oh, come on. I look at all these little creative artistic elements. I think this guy had fun.
The whole thing's a blast. The whole thing. It's really it's a sign of privilege to be able to do it. You know, to somehow live. And one of the ways I was able to live is the developer who I bought this from, the land developer, let me skate on payments from time to time.
You weren't a rich man. You didn't get an inheritance and just walk in here and lay down money. You had to work for it.
I was never accused of being a trust fund baby.
I was going to accuse you of that. I'm glad you cleared that up for me.
There you go. So, I think the therapist in that little spot. Thing. The garden wasn't necessarily a place, it wasn't a thing. It was a metaphor that could be a place and a thing, but it was also a metaphor for what's inside of us, what we think, the growth of our thoughts, our philosophies, our attitudes and actions, and the unlimited aspect of back to the garden. I mean, back to the garden could be going on top of the mountain and sitting. For me, it always has been over these years, grounded in the earth and the dirt.
Timothy, how old are you?
80. I
80.
just turned 80 a couple of months back.
And you were probably in your 20s when you first came out here. Is that right?
More like 30 something.
For a lot of people, it's very difficult to, just walk down the street at 80. And here you are living out in the woods, hiking up mountains. How's that working out for you?
I'm finding out definitively what it means to not be young anymore.
Yeah.
I did pretty well up till just fairly recently. I'm having problems.
So what's the plan? How much longer can you handle being out here?
Well, for the reason you've brought up and a couple other reasons, I'm thinking very strongly about selling the property and doing something else in my life.
Does that break your heart?
It breaks my heart, and it also puts a smile on my face to think different opportunities. I'm usually happy wherever I am, and I stay in town sometimes with my sweetie. There's things I would miss.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at where you are. It's like unbelievably beautiful.
It's incredibly beautiful, and also it's a chance to watch the seasons come and go, the days elongate, the sky bodies to move, and the flora and the fauna that goes through their changes, and that's glorious to watch that and feel a part of that.
You could do that to a certain extent wherever you are, though. To a certain extent, not as vividly.
Well, you can always do it, but to be in one place where the people around you, the oaks and the firs and the bays and the madrones, those people are the same while growing older too. And the newts that come up in the wintertime say hi, that's always fun. So. Who lives like this? Do I have to live like this? Do I want to live like this? And if somebody happened to drive by on the road that's not too far away and saw me, would I be embarrassed? Or is this really glorious? Because what's wrong with it? I'm close to this beauty. It's quiet, it's peaceful. I feel good inside. I feel grateful. I'm blossoming as a human being and learning how to be a human being. And just because my style is a little what someone would say non-conventional or maybe stupid, and maybe it is, but who's to judge? Before this was hilted into the rock and cement, we had to always walk across the creek, jumping from rock to rock, and many times there'd be too much water to get across. Before we were able to make stable the redwood logs that were split, that I had to, on my hands and knees, trying to get across on those things that were shaking, wobbly, and the water's racing down underneath. I shimmy across on my knees. There's a telephone guy that came down here one day in a storm. I said, "You shouldn't have come down." He said, "I'm going to your house." I said, "Okay, I'll show you how to do it." I stepped from rock to rock. He stepped from rock and he fell in. He had full rain gear on, 2 belts, boots, a hat, and this torrent of water is hitting him right in the face. And it's about 9 in the morning, and I'm thinking, and it's pouring rain, and I'm thinking, I'm gonna have to go in to save this guy's ass. Luckily, he saved his own ass. His name is Bob. I call him Swimmer Bob. This is what we call the trolley. This is how we get supplies across the gorge. That's the most direct route to the garden.
So all your supplies come in on this?
That's right.
Wow. Have you ever climbed in and had somebody pull you across?
I've sent kids across,
Uh-huh.
and they love it.
Hey, it's been great seeing your plays, and I hope to come back again with some friends.
Well, that's really cool. That's cool that we made it and that we did what we did, and that we got another chance to play in the
I
head.
tell you, the drive was half the adventure. It was really something, man. A lot of dirt roads, a lot of strange turns, a lot of wrong turns. Thanks for letting me come out today.
Yeah,
It's really nice, really
it's good
good.
having you here. I love sharing this beauty with people who appreciate it, and you do, and I love that.
I totally appreciate it. It's my dream too.
Well, I can feel it. The Kundalini's rising right now as I appreciate your appreciation.
There you go, my friend.
Okay.
I'll see you later.
We'll do it again.
Bye.
Adios.
I came upon a child of God. He was walking